somebody?
I don't know, man. I'm not. That I was so mad about that when he got released, and then we paid Jordy a little bit more money. Didn't make any sense to me, and I'm still pretty upset about it. But then reading more and hearing about more from interviews about, Marquette as well, who was, always rated well, but kind of hearing about how him and Crab were acting in the locker room, like, there are a lot of young players, man. We can't have guys who are just going to, they're going to talk mess and bring issues up. Like, we need guys who are going to come in and be quiet. And Jordy, I would never say he's as good as Crab right now. He's not. He just isn't. But the locker room presence, he might be a positive influence. I don't know.
In his prime, I think he was always better than Crabtree. And I think it's been proven that Jordy was better than Crabtree in his prime. That's just me. Pete totally does not. He totally loves Michael Crabtree.
Okay, nice.
What about Bryant, though? What about Martavis Bryant?
There's Bryant?
What do you think his Martavis. What do you think his fantasy value is going to be?
I have scary thoughts of Martavis going for 800 and 8 touchdowns, all of them 40-yard catches and farther. And then he signs an 8-year deal, $8 million a year with someone else. I wouldn't want it to be us because I can't pay a guy that much after what's happened. I would need a few more years. He's not going to take a prove-it deal after this last year, right? If he has a good year, so he's going to cash out. He could be okay as a slot guy for you this year, but he's not someone I'm looking at yet. We're still really early on in the process. I mean, OTA's just started. We're going to have injuries. We're going to start hearing about rookies and how they're coming through. I guess for the Raiders, too, talk about running back-wise, Doug Martin, I mean, he's had some amazing games, amazing years. He's younger than
he's done.
Marshawn.
He's worse than Maurice Jones-Drew when we got him.
Ouch.
Put it to you that way.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Kenny, you really think he's worse than MJD was when he came to the Raiders?
MJD was only one season removed from 1,000 yards, but Doug Martin's 2.5.
Well, I hear you. I want to hear Kenny, though. Kenny, what do you think? Do you agree with that? I can't agree with that. What do you think?
I think he has some value. I think he has a little bit of value, but it's really just as a spot starter.
I think if he gets 500 yards from scrimmage, we'll say it was a successful season.
Most of them are special
from scrimmage.
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
I don't see that happening.
I hear that, guys. I'm in for that. Let me. And then what did you guys have next? You had.
What movie do I need to see next? And when's your next show?
Next show is going to be based on Solo.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be able to see. I'll probably see that later this weekend. We'll do a kind of a review on that based on, expectations, what we thought of it. Is it worth your money? How does it tie into the Star Wars world? My next guest, I'm still going to be. It started. What the fuck? So started out mostly as an interview show with people from film and TV. I'm still doing that. I've just done mostly the movies because my friends have been around. It's just kind of fun, more laid back. But I'm actually going to have a guest, a podcast in New Zealand, Baxter. I'm going to have him on. And I'm going to go ahead and just have an America versus New Zealand, not necessarily like a versus in a bad way, but just conversation about what they watch, kind of food they eat, just kind of an idea for, hey, you go to New Zealand, like I'm talking thinking about my honeymoon, I have an idea of what to do and what to look at, and that's part of what I try to do on my show, is witty, informational conversation. So you're in that, maybe we learn some phrases, and that saves us from getting a free beer or getting in a fight or something in New Zealand to tell us what Hobbit Land is. So those are the next episodes on that. Movies I really liked recently, I would say The Quiet Place, awesome for what it was. The sequel will suck. It will never be as good as the first one, right? But it was solid. Annihilation was pretty legit. Graphics-wise, it was pretty awesome. Upcoming movies I like that are kind of under the radar. I don't want to tell you ones that everyone knows, kind of like Ant-Man or something. One is Kin, K-I-N, which is a movie I really like. It's like this adopted son and his adopted brother, and then some kind of alien technology goes out there, and the older brother has crime issues, but he starts protecting his adopted brother. They don't really get to know each other. They get to know each other throughout the process. I think it's going to be a cool movie. Everyone who watches it thinks like Stranger Things, right? Kind of think of like a kid in a really tough situation, but there's a lot of heart, right, and cool explosions. So Kin looks awesome. Something else and kind of in the same vein, but a lot more adult-oriented is Upgrade. I'm sure you guys have seen the trailer for that, maybe around Upgrade June 1st.
Yeah.
This guy gets basically it's kind of like the Crow, like he gets beat up and left for dead. And then he comes back kind of like super strong. This time he comes back super strong because he's got upgrades in terms of, I think, computer enhancements. So he's fighting guys who are shooting bullets out of their arms, stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a cool movie to watch. So
cool.
I would just say that. I have some TVs written down. If you guys are running over, you want me to leave, I can. But TV-wise, Barry on HBO was awesome. Ozark on Netflix, Justin Bateman, awesome. Yep. Season 2 coming out. Even better, Narcos on Netflix. Love it because it's so good that for me, who usually just doesn't want to have to do subtitles, it's awesome. I learned Spanish by watching Narcos. It's a good show. It really is. Another documentary on Netflix is is dirty money. And then if you guys would let me wrap up, I would just have to say the Lakers, keep the core. Don't trade anyone but maybe Lonzo. Pay Randall.
Oh.
Please, the fucking life of me, please, please, please do not sign Paul George to a max deal. I don't care if he's from Palmdale.
Second that.
Okay.
All right, Conner, thank you for calling in. You can catch your show on Stitcher, SoundCloud, everywhere, right? Pretty much?
Everywhere. Yeah, all the ones that let me put my podcast up.
Awesome. And
My What the Fuck show.
when you talk about New Zealand, make sure you mention the All Blacks. They love rugby out there.
Okay, I will. Hey, thanks, guys, man. I appreciate it. It was awesome talking to you guys.
No worries. Thanks for calling in, Conner, man. Have a good night. Appreciated you.
Okay. Peace out.
Peace.
Yeah, man. So that was Conner Faulk, My What the Fuck show. We go way back to CSUN, man. Shout out to him giving us a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of insights because he does work in the industry, as well as some Raider fan takes. So,
And TV, and yeah, most of those Netflix, a lot of those movies, I'm like, they're pretty solid. I didn't know about Ken. I knew about Upgrade, trailer like that, but I mean, it should be interesting. So he might be anti-hero. Who knows?
So let me ask you this, Woo. You just heard us talk about the Raiders for like 15 minutes. As a Cowboys fan, how does that make you feel?
How does it?
Honestly, I'm okay with the Raiders. I think you guys should have done a lot better than what you did last year, for sure. You guys had a couple games that just kind of slipped away from you guys, and
didn't you have DC and Coop on your fantasy teams?
I did.
Yeah. Did you have Bryce Butler on the bench?
No, I did not.
Or McFadden?
No, I did draft McFadden. No, I'm sorry. I drafted Morris last year, but I've had Cooper for since he's entered the league.
Solid.
So, I mean, that guy, 1 week I'll love him, the next week I'll hate him, dropping those wide open passes in the end zone. I'm like, dude, come on, man, you're killing me. But last year's fantasy kind of ended up like the Raiders, very disappointing. So, I've made the championship like 4 years in a row.
I was going to say, second. Yeah, you have rings.
I've a standard.
I've won 2 leagues. I've finished at least second every year, except last year I finished last. But, I'm not going to talk about that. Bounce back this year.
Just like your Cowboys.
Man, don't even get me started on the Cowboys, dude.
How did you feel about the Dez thing, knowing I feel like they stole Cedric Wilson in like the 7th round. I was pissed about that out of Boise State. But how do you feel about just their whole draft?
Well, first I'm gonna say I'm not on the level you guys are as far as like knowing the players and their stats and all that, but I think I'm a little bit more than the casual fan. I think we did good in the draft. I think they addressed a lot of their holes that they needed.
Especially linebacker.
Yeah, that linebacker pick. I'm excited. Hopefully that guy stays healthy. And
hopefully he's not Bobby Carpenter.
First off, Van Der Esch is not Bobby Carpenter. He actually was great in college.
But as far as Dez, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like they got rid of him before they really replaced him. I mean, I know they got Hearns, and they drafted that receiver, but I don't know, man. I mean, we'll see how the season goes. I think, like you said, it is going to be a big year for Carr. I think it's going to be a big year for Dak, especially seeing what Carson Wentz did last year. I think he's got a lot to prove. I know a lot of people give him slack because Zeke was out all last year and everything was week to week, but I think he took a big step back, and a lot of that I think goes back to the coaching though. Like that one game about against the Falcons, I mean they gave that left tackle no help, and he was getting ate up all game. It was like at some point you just got to send a running back over there or somebody to help him, chip him or something.
Chaz Green out of Florida. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So you already kind of touched on the whole coaching thing, and I know a couple of weeks ago we talked about it here. T.O. pretty much called out Jason Garrett and was like,
why does he still have a job?
Why does he still have a job?
He's terrible in average.
Do you think Jason Garrett should have a job, and is he finally on the short leash this year? Like, do you want to see him fired if he's sorry?
I think he is on the hot seat. I think he should be fired. I don't know how much years are left on his contract, but
how many games does he need to How many games or how far does he need to go in the playoffs to
he needs to make the playoffs.
You comfortable as a fan?
Playoffs.
Keeping his job.
He needs to make the playoffs. And I think it's going to be tough the way the division's looking right now. But if we make it in as a wild card, And, being a Cowboy, I'm tired of people saying we can't win playoff games. They need to win.
I mean, it's only been like 2 decades.
Right.
But.
Yeah.
Our entire lives.
And I get it. But they need to make it out of the first round of the playoffs. Because I don't think they're going to win the division. I think they're going to have to get in a wild card spot.
I'm going to throw some smoke at you. All right. Are you ready for this? Who's going to win a playoff game first? The UCLA Bruins or the Dallas Cowboys? Hit me with the shots, KB.
Oh, damn. Wait a minute.
Because this man is a UCLA Bruins season ticket holder. So.
Oh, God. Wait, and he got struck by lightning. On senior day, just like Jim Moore did. Shout out to Chip Kelly.
If I were to put $1,000 on it, I would say the Cowboys would win a playoff game before UCLA does. I think... I don't know, man. The Pac-12 is such a tough conference in college football, and they just beat each other up. So when they get to the playoffs, I know the SEC isn't a walk in the park, but
it kind of is.
I think
after like 3 teams.
I mean, if you put Alabama in the Pac-12, do they make it out of the Pac-12 unscathed?
They get one or two
losses, probably to Arizona or Colorado, just out of nowhere.
Because Khalil Tate's unstoppable.
And there's always that one team from the Pac-12 that comes out of nowhere and surprises everybody.
Yeah,
that's that big upset.
That's competitive all season long, and they don't do anything,
right.
But they just beat the best team.
Yep. So, it's funny. Because Terrence Williams, this isn't funny, but he just got caught with like a DUI.
I can't stand that guy.
The Baylor curse. So, and Jason Witten retiring. Where do you? They picked up tight end Dallas Schultz, I think, out of Stanford. He's actually one of the best blocking tight ends in the draft. So when you look at Jerry Jones and where he has this team and the future of it, like. Do you feel like they're a couple pieces away, or do you feel like this is kind of a rebuild/reload type season?
Oh man, I think they're a couple pieces away. Whether they're going to get those pieces is another question. Jason Witten leaving definitely hurt the team big time. I mean, that was a big weapon for Dak. He's going to be hard to replace. And Jerry Jones, Man, I don't know how I feel about him. I mean, I love him, but he has his hands in just too many things.
Yeah.
He's the owner, the general manager. He's I don't know what else.
He has an office for every
cheerleading
role.
coach. Like,
did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
He has an office like for VP, for general manager, and for owner. So when he calls players up, depending on what office he's in, that's what Jerry you're getting.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's some megalomaniac type.
Yeah, that's crazy. I definitely think he needs to just be the owner and hire a general manager and let somebody run the team. Because, I don't know, man.
But isn't that Jason Garrett?
Jason Garrett's a substitute teacher.
I feel like Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones are too close.
Yeah.
And I think that gets in the way of, him not being fired. I mean, it's kind of like when the Angels had Socha as their manager forever. I mean, they were mediocre for years, but he kept his job. And everyone was like, why? Like, the Angels have good players.
He's still there.
They should make the playoffs. Oh, yeah. See, I didn't even know he was still there. I thought he was
They still have him, Artie Moreno. Trust me, I'm an Angels fan. I feel the hurt.
Yeah, it's
I feel the pain.
Like, all right, how many years are you going to be 500 and be okay with it? Like, at some point, the head's got to roll.
They're pitching, man. It hurts.
All right, man. So let's move on to the next topic. This is a topic that I wanted to talk about. I just stumbled upon it on the internet. I don't know if you guys got it. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have got a chance to look at this chart. But basically what they did was they pulled 1,488 NFL fans and basically had them rank the logos, just the pure logos that are on the helmets, on all the apparel, and basically rank them, and graphic designers weighed in on the different color aspects and elements. And basically, I'm just going to give the listeners the top 5, and then we can kind of go from there. So, number 1 is the Saints from New Orleans. Number 2, the Detroit Lions. Number 3, the Atlanta Falcons.
Huge NFC bias.
Number 4 is the Los Angeles Rams. And number 5,
The Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings.
The Minnesota Vikings. So just
well, who's 6? Just so shout out to oh man, the Philadelphia Eagles.